Hello there friends and welcome. For today's Pathfinder guide we have another very fun build. This time a Lich Sniper with Vampiric Arrows. I've done many other Lich builds in the past, but usually melee, casters or both. This time you'll be going fully for a Sniper style, which does fit the Mythic path because of how versatile Lich is. By virtue of the Vampiric Blade spell alone, you'll be able to add plus 30 to all of your longbow hits. Together of course with LIFESTEAL on ranged attacks, so that you truly never die, just like a real Lich should be. As a matter of fact, while you might not have as many attacks as let's say a Legend, you'll still get around 150 normal damage and even higher than 600 criticals. And this time, we'll also be going with a new archetype, Wandering Marksman from Hunter. And by virtue of being a Hunter, you'll of course have your OP Leopard pet as early as level 1, it's green here because of the undead buffs. It's not only the best early pet for both AC and attack rolls, but it can also achieve enormous armor class higher than 100 easily, for all of your tanking purposes. So without further ado, let us get started into our Lich Sniper build. For class you'll be going with Hunter and a new archetype I've never covered before, Wandering Marksman, which is of course the ranged focused one. Hunter has always been one of my favorite classes because of how stacked it is early game. And to me, early game power is as always what matters the most. As a matter of fact, you have the earliest access to outflank right at level 2, the best fit in the game, together with being able to share it with your pet at level 3. For Wandering Marksman, this doesn't really have any use, right, because you're a ranged character, but you still gain some very nice abilities to support your ranged side. First, Self-reliance. Whenever your pet is 10 feet or more away from you, it gains a morale bonus to AC equal to +1 for every 4 levels. So that's a +4 morale, quite high because of how rare morale bonuses to AC are. Second, Plan Distraction. At level 3+, whenever you attack an enemy engaged with your pet in melee combat, you'll get a +1 circumstance bonus to attack and damage with increases at 12 and 18. Circumstance bonuses are also super rare, so we'll stack with everything else. Imminent attack can be quite good too, but the execution is a bit weird, right? So you can mark all enemies in a 10-foot area as spray 3 times per day. Your animal companion, well, whenever they kill a marked enemy, its critical range will increase by +1 until the end of combat, and it even stacks. Because your leopard pet will be quite powerful, well, it can end up killing enemies. It's just not really as reliable because chances are your allies will also kill enemies and so on. But if it works, it works. Now another major feature of Hunter is animal focus. I didn't care much for this in earlier versions of the game, which is why I tended to go with Divine Hound, which loses it for judgments. But that's because back then, the bonus this gave both your character and your pet used to be enhancement, which is very common and easily replaceable by gear and spells. Nowadays the bonus is classified as inherent, also super rare. As a matter of fact, I can only count a single other source of inherent bonuses in the game, and it's super late at chapter 5 only. With this, even at level 1, our pet can already gain a +2 inherent to dexterity, increasing to +4 and +6 later on, and the best part is you'll also get to apply it to your hunter themselves. At the same time even. The only difference is for the pet, the duration is permanent. Later you even get to apply 2 animal focus at once. So eventually, both your pet and your marksman lich will get a +6 inherent to both dexterity and strength. That's really good. Now for race you can truly go with anything you want. I'm choosing human here just because it's the one I like the best, but you won't be starved for feats with this build, not as a ranged character. For background, as with any sniper, you absolutely want pickpocket after all. You'll have super high dexterity, together with very high initiative too. If you attack first with a ranged attack, well, the enemy is caught flat-footed for even lower AC. Great early on. Now as far as your ability points, dexterity is of course our main stat as a ranged build, to increase or to hit chance with bows. Strength is also necessary to increase damage with composite longbows. Wisdom, well, 12 is more than enough, the rest you can easily get through headbands. Hunters don't really have very fast spellcasting, with up to level 6 spells only max. Now you can start like this, or if you really want to min-max, feel free to dump intelligence to 7. Will be a dumb glitch, but hey, it works. Because even if you didn't go with a human, a hunter would still have 3 skill points, right? Which is more than enough. Then you can start with 12 constitution and 12 charisma. Charisma is just for when you become a lich, but that's super late, as far as your hit points coming from this anyways. While constitution can help early on, but you know you are a ranged character, so it's not like you'll be getting hit much. It's up to you. Just change these other stats in any way you see fit, so long as you have 16 strength and 19 dexterity at character creation. You can also start with 14 wisdom if you prefer. For skill points, mobility is a must-have because the best longbow will add damage based on it, and we have high dexterity anyways, even if it's not a class skill. You might as well go with athletics and the 2 other dexterity skills too, trickery and stealth. Now for your level 1 feats, point blank shot is of course a must-have, and because the range is 30 feet, it won't clash with your self-reliance ability. We don't need precise shot so early because we can get it for free at the next level anyways. So what I like to pick now is, well, you might as well go with rapid shot. You don't necessarily have to turn it on early, at least if you're less on unfair, because the penalties can be annoying. Otherwise, I mean, you have enough dexterity to make it work, especially as you level up. Of course, if you didn't go with a human, you would just delay this feat for 3 and so on. For the pet, we absolutely want the leopard this time. The leopard is not only the best early game pet, as a matter of fact it can achieve around 30 armor class even at level 2 when buffed. And of course, as you level up, you'll get around 60 when unbuffed at max level, and even higher than 100 when buffed, so it will remain quite useful through the whole game. Also, do note that just like the dog and the wolf and the boar, it does strip on its bite attacks, and as bite is its primary attack, whenever you haste the leopard or get attacks of opportunity, you'll also get extra bites for more trips. It's just that it won't have as high strength and bite attacks as the dog, wolf and boar, but it's still amazing. Now for your hunter spells, hunters are spontaneous casters and they have a lot of nice buffs. Well, please remember that I already have a best divine spells guide you can check for explanations as to why each spell is the best. For now, let's just keep it simple and short as usual. Something you can do at level 1 is pick both resist energy and delay poison, because amusingly enough, hunters are the class that have the earliest access to these spells, and they last very long and can be helpful early game. It's just that later at level 5 or so, your other casters will have party-wide versions of these. In any case, Hurricane Bow is a must-have for any ranged build, and I also like Aspect of the Falcon for the great boost to both attack and the critical range increase of bows, which would take improved critical to get, which is like 10 levels from now. For deity, as you'll be going with Lich, Mummy or Gatoa as always, and any evil alignment. For level 2, Precise Shot of course for free, and then Cure Light Wounds, which can help early game. Weapon. For level 3 you have 2 choices. Well, if you didn't go with a human, it's Rapid Shot now, or Weapon Focus into Longbows, or Deadly Aim for higher range damage. It's just that, honestly, early game combining both Deadly Aim and Rapid Shot, well, it's a bit too much, right? Because it's a lot of penalties that you can't really compensate so early. Which is why I would much rather get Weapon Focus into Longbows now, also to help alleviate the Rapid Shot penalty. But it's up to you what you prefer. For another spell, Long Strider, it's not that you need to move fast as a hunter, but this has super high duration and it can help when moving through the city or your campsite, at the very least. At level 4, increase dexterity, which is of course is what you want on all other levels. For level 2 spells, Bark Skin is the best. Your leopard should always have this on. And for a second choice, well, you can go with an animal buff, like let's say Cat's Grace, to increase either your leopard or your very own dexterity. Or Lesser Restoration, which can help as a spontaneous caster. At level 5 is when it would get Deadly Aim, but like I said, you don't have to turn both it and Rapid Shot on at the same time. For more spells, I'd pick Lesser Restoration now, and then Sense Vitals at 6, because this will provide us with free sneak attack, and at this point, it's starting to scale. At level 7, go for Improved Initiative. As I said, Initiative is golden for any sniper character. Then be sure to get Unbreakable Heart now to remove Confusion, which can help against, let's say, the Vescavor Swarm area, which just happens to be at level 7. For your first level 3 spells, I really like Protection from Energy and Resist Energy Communal. If only because hunters are spontaneous casters, right? So if you get ambushed, like let's say a certain dragon battle at chapter 3, you can immediately rush for Protection from Energy Communal Fire as to not either die or take a lot of damage. For another spell, it's actually up to you, but I like Greater Magic Fang to buff your pets. As for level 9, Many Shot 100% for even extra damage with your bows. Any other level 3 spell. And as far as more level 2 ones, well, you might as well pick Natural Rhythm now, because at least it does something unique. Just be wary of the short duration. For your first level 4 spells, Echolocation is as always the must-have. Animal Growth too, but I usually go with Camellia who can cast it, right? So if you have another caster that can do it, I wouldn't bother picking it with your hunter. So to me, Inspiring Recovery, because it can help revive allies without having to spend precious Raise Dead scrolls and components. For level 11, it's time for improved critical into Longbows, of course. Just remember that unless you go Trickster, Longbows won't really have very high critical range. And you can delay this further if you want, because of the aspect of the Falcon spell anyways. It's up to you. Let's say if you didn't go with a human, for example, so you wouldn't have the extra feat. Any other level 1 choose spell now, Acid Maul can be fun, but most enemies resist the acid damage later. And well, you might as well pick Freedom of Movement here. Any other level 4 spell. At level 13 it's time for our Shatter Defenses package, so Dazzling Display. Any level 3 spell. For level 5 spells, well, Hunter ones are kinda poor, amusingly enough, compared to the earlier spell levels. You might as well pick Death Ward as a spontaneous caster, and the rest is truly up to you. Any level 2 spell as well, together with any level 5. As for level 15, as always, Shatter Defenses, which does work with ranged attacks. Honestly, pick any spells you want now. As far as level 6 spells, Greater Dispel Magic can help as a spontaneous caster, and besides that, just the mass version of the animal buffs, especially Cat's Grace. Now, because you already have access to level 6 spells, and your animal focus ability has capped out already at level 15, you can multiclass your Marksman now. I just don't think it's necessary, right? But there's always Alchemist and Vivisectionist for the mutagen and extra sneak attack. Ranger and Demon Slayer, you can even go with the classic Fighter and Mutation Warrior because you have enough levels for it. I'll just keep the character pure. Your level 17 plus feats can truly be anything you want, that's why I said you didn't have to go with a human. You might as well pick Hammer the Gap now. And be sure to get any other spells you want. As for level 19, like I said, go with anything you want here. We already have the best feats, by far. You can go with, let's say, Improved Precise Shot, also a meta magic feat even at level 17 for more Lich Mythic Spellbook flexibility, the same with Hunter. Even a skill focus, just pick whatever you prefer. And don't forget Boon Companion if you went with a multiclass that doesn't progress your animal companion. Alright, now let's discover Mythic Progression for our Lich Sniper. For the first Ascension, either Close to the Heavens or Bit of Fun if you want higher skill points. It is true that as a Lich you won't be healed by positive energy, but look, that takes until Mythic 8, which is, what, 40 hours from when you get Close to the Heavens? Until then it will remain extremely useful, especially because it's dual uses, right? Healing or damaging the enemy as a ranged touch attack. And you do have the ranged feats already to make this work, so it's up to you. I personally prefer the extra healing, especially out of battle, so you won't have to rely on potions and so on. Now, for Mythic level 1, you have two choices. Cleaving Shot is, as always, the must-have for any ranged character, right? Being able to apply your ranged attacks on an area of effect is busted good. But you can also go with Master Shapeshifter, even this early. Hunters have access to all of the animal aspects spells, which means you can easily proc this, even as early as Aspect of the Falcon, which is now Polymorph. And well, a +4 to your dexterity and strength permanently is amazing. I would much rather Cleaving Shot though, unless you were, let's say, on Unfair. For Mythic 2, Mythic Rapid Shot because I hate the penalty, and with this we can overcome that just fine for a free extra attack per round. For Mythic 3, Master Shapeshifter no doubt. The benefits are just too good for a hunter. Sadly, you cannot merge with Lich, so you have a separate Mythic spellbook. Now for the Skeleton Champion, I still recommend the Marksman, even if you are already a ranged character, right? Because, as always, as a no-merged Lich, you won't have many spell slots to heal your undead allies. By virtue of being a ranged ally, the Skeleton Marksman pet won't really be in any danger. For the first Lich power, Fear Control, as always, it's a massive boost to both your attack and damage, and it's part of what makes non-merged Lich so good compared to Angel. At Mythic 4 you have two choices. My preferred pick here is Mythic Deadly Aim because it works on all hits. You can also go for Mythic Critical, it's just that, like I said before, Longbows do not have high critical range unless you go with a Trickster. I'd much rather something that's always like Mythic Deadly Aim. The first skeleton upgrade, as always, is going to be Fighter. Sadly, for the bonus feat, you kinda don't have anything important because for some strange reason the game doesn't let you pick a weapon focus or an improved critical, right? You can't choose the weapon, so it's useless. In which case you can grab anything you want, it won't really matter, like clustered shots, I suppose, does something at least for a ranged pet. Then weapon focus Longbow, thankfully, together with weapon training to bows, plus the base attack bonus increase. Don't forget at this mythic rank you also get the highly OP Vampiric Blade spell, which by itself already increases your range damage by a massive amount together with ranged lifesteal. For Mythic 5, we'll return to the ranged mythic abilities. And you have two choices, Expose Vulnerability for higher damage or Distracting Shots for less enemy AC against melee hits. For your allies, of course. I'd much rather this one. For Mythic 6, either Mythic Critical or Mythic Initiative. It's up to you what you prefer earlier. For the second Lich power, Weapon of Death is a must-have because the Crusader Edge spell, which is the main source of Bane to your weapons, well, it only works on melee. With this, we can add Bane even to our ranged longbows. At Mythic 7, either Distracting Shots or, in my case, Expose Vulnerability. On Mythic 8, well, by this point you definitely can go with Mythic Critical, or pick it earlier like I said, it's up to you. The second skeleton upgrade doesn't matter much, and they all do something useful, but since we are a ranged Skelly, either Inquisitor for Judgment or Magus for the extra damage on hit. Cleric can work too for some nice self buffs. As far as Mythic 9, you can pick anything you want, but to me, Mythical Beast. We don't really need Last Stand as a ranged character, especially as a Lich who will never die anyways. For the last Lich power, you can also go with anything you want because the remaining ones don't really matter much for ranged blows. I suppose Deadly Magic is the most versatile of them all because it can at least shut enemy spellcasters down. But you can get this for free from your phylactery too if you prefer. As for Mythic 10, it doesn't really matter, you can go with anything you want here too, including even Mythic Point Blank Shot or Mythic Weapon Focus. Alright, now let us cover gear for our Lich Sniper. For the amulet, Vel acts as always if you want to achieve the highest dexterity possible for this build. But don't forget, the back rank assistance talisman which you can find at chapter 3, the same place where we get Ronak's Sacrifice, is quite powerful as well, because it's one of the few ways of getting extra attacks whenever melee allies get an attack of opportunity, as a ranged character that is. It's once per enemy, so quite powerful too. For armor, Web Strider is definitely the best, as a way of increasing your dexterity by +2 morale, which of course will become doubled when combined with the Ring of Triumphant Advance for +4. Yes, it will tank your armor class because you have such high dexterity, and this puts a limit on it, but it doesn't matter, I mean, you are a ranged character, it's not like you'll be getting hit, that's why you have your Uber AC Leopard. For robes, Robes of the Seven Sins, mostly for the +3 boost to caster level. After all, as a non-merged Lich, you won't really have very high caster level, at least not as high as a merged one. For the belts, at the start, belts of dexterity, then dexterity and strength, but ultimately Aurodan's belt is, as always, or almost always, the best choice, to increase both attack and damage by massive amounts. Gloves don't really matter for this build, I just went with Death Dealer for extra sneak attack damage, and you do get the Sense Vital spell for free. As far as boots, Ronak's Sacrifice is as always the best choice for any dexterity character, which is even better because Aurodan's belt doesn't increase any stat. With this we have a +8 to our dexterity. For helmets, at the start headbands that increase wisdom, but later you just wanna settle for Darkness Caress, although it's really late in the game, as it even lets you add your charisma modifier as extra ranged damage. You can also go with the Hat of the Bitter End, but we have enough AB boosts as it is. For cloaks, as always, the Lich Mythic Cloak is amazing if you're going with many undead allies. And don't forget there's also the Wrath of Undead Cloak, but since it works as an aura, you can equip it on another ally. For rings, Triumphant Advance of course should double morale bonuses, even better for our dexterity. And the other ring is up to you. I have Merciless Shot here, because at least it grants a nice boost to your point blank shot ability, and you can find it super early in the game. For braces, lesser braces of archery and later the normal version, because of how rare competence bonus to bow ranged attacks are in this game. Now let us cover weapons and quickslots. For the best bow, well, it's always going to be Killing Pace. After all, it's an extra plus 10 damage from your mobility score end game, and you can buy it from the Skeletal Merchant during chapter 5. Don't forget, as a Lich you can also buff it with Living Bane, so even if you don't have Crusader's Edge, this will make up for that. And there's Vampiric Blade's Shoe for around plus 30 extra potential damage. I also have the Fiery Spellweaver Quarterstaff here just to increase your caster level even further when casting buffs and such. The rest are mostly Metamagic Rods. Extend Rods of course should double the duration of your buffs, especially normal extend for Vampiric Blade early on. Jarsegax for some extra damage. And well, just greater Quicken Rods and the Grandmaster's Rod for higher damage and faster spells. The Lucky Dice and the Signet of House Vespertilio can also help if you want. Well, alright friends, so this was it for my Vampiric Lich Sniper build. If you found it useful as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time, friends.